Before we get to the interview, I'd like to tell you about a special offer to subscribe to the Business Observer, which covers essential business news in Florida every day online and every Friday with a print edition. Unlock every Business Observer article on our website and app for only $1 a week. Sign up today and stay up to date with all the business news you need to be better at business. Go to businessobserverfl.com/subscribe. Hello, and welcome to the Business Observer from the Corner Office podcast. I'm Mark Gordon, managing editor of the Business Observer. Today's guest is Donald Suxho, US Olympic volleyball player and, more recently, a partner with GSI, an indoor sports training facility in Venice. Donald, welcome, and thanks for being here.
Mark, very good to meet you. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you today.
Awesome. Yes. So we got to start with the part in your bio about Olympics, right? That's just so amazing. And as we are in episode somewhere in the 50s here, we've been doing this just a little bit over a year. You're our first US Olympian. So tell us about your Olympic career and what that entailed.
Yeah, I mean, I should write a book about that, Mark. So maybe another podcast. I might do like 10 different podcasts because, honest to God, and God has plans for all of us. I never dreamed to be in Olympics. I never dreamed to be an Olympian. I even couldn't dream about being an Olympian. I grew up in Albania, in a communist country. We were competing with North Korea. I call it who's dumb and dumber, who can, put the people down. So growing up in communist Albania, till age 14, 15, we were very isolated from the world. I mean, we had one TV channel, one radio channel. Everything was made in Albania, by Albanians, for Albanians. So the outside world didn't exist. Although I found out that the outside, our neighbors were beautiful. It was Greece and Italy and Croatia. So we had no idea who we were. But as a young kid, I love sports, and my dad played volleyball. He was a setter, and then we grew up just doing a bunch of different sports, as young kids. Then volleyball, I grew tall, about 6'3", 6'4", and then my dad said, "Hey, let's, make you a setter. Let's play volleyball." I said, "Sure, what else, And then the communism fell off in the 90s, 90, 91, 94. I called that time a chaosism, where people truly became chaos, wars and gangs and mafia, and just, you have this population that it's isolated for about 55 years and then it's free, So it's very hard to deal with freedom. Long story short, my grandmother, may God bless her soul, she was born in America in 1920s, which is pretty crazy, and got stuck in Albania for 50 years. Never saw her family, so she, went to the U.S. Embassy, in Albania, told them that, my grandmother's American and we want to come home, I guess, which we moved to Boston 94 for truly a better life, So I was working, washing dishes, selling Dunkin' Donuts, didn't go to high school or played club volleyball. I was just an immigrant with 5% of English fluency. So, but I love sports. I loved volleyball. My dream as a young kid was truly to be the best volleyball player in the world, but my world was so tiny back then, right? So then when I came to the States, I realized that I was nobody. I didn't even know where I was, So I would just walk on to the YMCA gym or the local high school gym or the church, And next thing you know, like, I love America for that. Like, people are willing to help you there. The high school coach offered me a training spot, just to hang out at a high school team. And then next thing I know, my cousin introduced me to the Harvard University coach, which is pretty unreal. When I saw Harvard, it was more beautiful than my whole country per se. And that's when I started dreaming of simply playing volleyball, somewhere in America, and just getting away from working 10,000 jobs. We called every college in America, introducing ourselves. Everybody said no. There was one school that agreed to, come and check me out in Boston. That was University of Southern California, USC. And again, I was clueless about where USC was or California. It was too far for my own taste, Coach comes down to Boston, watches me play, train with Harvard University, and then gives me a full ride. So my life went from communism to chaosism, washing dishes, to a full ride to USC. needless to say, I didn't know that I had to pass SATs, and that took me back for about 8 months because I that's how I lost my hair. Uh, math, I could kill it. English language, I mean, it's still a struggle, to this day. But I passed. Thank God I passed it with the help of friends, family, the church, the teachers of the town, and then I showed up at USC '97. I have a picture I'll send you after. Like my head coach was an Olympic gold medalist, and behind his office was USC athletes to Olympics. And I just dawned on me. I'm like, that is such an unattainable goal. Even for a kid like me that got a scholarship, because USA is the best in the world. We're number one and two in the world. So, and that's when I started really kind of dream and believe that I could be something in this country. Because what I realized working as an immigrant was, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your race or color, as long as you work hard and you're persistent and you love what you do and you help others, this country gives you opportunities, right? And the opportunity came with USC, which helped me, which molded me to an athlete and human being, a student athlete per se. And I had a tremendous career there as a two-time All-American and Player of the Year. And then in 2000, my coach, who I got to know him after, and I was shocked that an Olympic gold medalist is coaching a kid from Albania,
Yeah.
said, "Hey, what are you going to do with your life now?" I said, like every other European, we want to go home, back to Europe, open a coffee shop and hang out by the beach, right?
Right.
Why don't you join US Olympic team? I said, that's crazy, man. Like, I'm like, I love you to death, but that's just, no, just go try out, right? So we called the head coach of Olympic team after Sydney Olympics. That was September 2000. And, we had a tryout. He liked me. He said, hey, come and spend 1 year at a training center in Colorado Springs. And that's when that's when I when I first went there, A, I cried. B, I couldn't believe I was walking on those grounds. I mean, this is the Olympic Center,
Yeah.
I got to know like Rulon Gardner, Michael Phelps were training there, like Apollo Hanna, I mean, kind of some of the legendary athletes in
These
the world.
iconic athletes.
And it's like, I'm hanging out there, man. I'm just like, like just having breakfast and looking at these guys. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to fail. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
care if you have to drag me, you have to kill me to get out of this place,
Yeah.
So I got paid. I mean, I told the coach, I don't care how much you pay me. I just want to stay here, man, until I die. So,
Yeah.
so I
Well,
stayed, I stayed 1 year, Mark, and then I met the team, and the rest is history, man. I actually played in 3 Olympics. I played in Athens. I ruptured my Achilles in China right before, and then I played in London. So I lasted quite a long time, man, and played pro at the highest level in the world. So yeah, my story is pretty crazy. Still don't believe I did it, but here I am telling you.
yeah, it's just so amazing, right? You talked about, growing up in communism and all these different things that you saw, and even the transition from Boston to LA. That's quite I mean, USD is quite a shocking difference. But one of the things that stands out in what you just said, and I think you've talked about this publicly. I saw some on social media online, and you sort of made a decision that you were going to be great, right? Like you made this conscious decision for greatness. What did that entail in you, and how did you do that?
It started at a young age, Mark, and thank God for my parents and my dad, who kind of installed those values and, work ethic at a young age. And he said, hey, if you put in the work, good things are coming, right? And he kind of manipulated my brain, my young brain at age 13. I lived by the mountains. And he said, like, hey, if you run these hills every morning at 6 a.m., in afternoon, when we go to flat surface, in volleyball, you're going to be faster, you're going to be stronger, you're going to start, you're going to be, and, as a young kid, as a young man, you feel confident, you start feeling stronger and faster, and it actually works, So after a couple of months, as I put in a lot of work, running those hills every morning and doing dip, because we had no gyms back in the day. I mean, in Albania, we didn't have fitness, so we just throw stones and do pull-ups and, push-ups. And I just became a really good athlete, and I started feeling confident. And when I started feeling confident, I saw results, right? But I had to put in the work. So once you taste that success, I said, okay, now as I grow, my goal right now is to be the best setter, the best athlete possible, which was and then I committed to that work, like I never left that mindset because I tasted the result. I was patient, I was persistent to go through the work, and then being disciplined for that. And once you taste that, even a small victory, I talk about small victories, like a starting sport, or beating a guy in the sprints, or winning a drill. Like that just kind of builds your confidence, and you just go work out more. So for me, that's what I did. And I remember even in Boston when I was working two jobs, washing dishes from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., selling Dunkin' Donuts from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. In between, we'll go around sprints at local high school, man. Like, and that's kind of was the ongoing work preparation that I knew that when opportunity came, I would be ready. I had this like inner belief, like kind of a sixth sense, God had blessed me with faith, that I'm like, I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to put in the work regardless of outcome. And I know that opportunity will come, and that happened, once we came to US. It was one tryout. And my
Yeah.
life has been a tryouts, Mark. One tryout at USC, one tryout at USA. I hope to God that now in business it's the same, man. So
Keep doing the one tryout. Well, it's a famous football coach quote that somebody said so and so was lucky, and it was a coach on the Steelers, I think, who said, well, he was hustling, and when you're hustling, good things are going to happen to you. That's what it reminds me of, right? Because you were constantly putting yourself in position to get this good luck. Like it's not luck, you earned it.
exactly, Mark, and it's like it's everybody sees the success, right, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but nobody sees the hard work behind the doors. And I think everybody kind of we all when the lights are on, everybody works hard. When you have coaches, when you have people around you, it's comfortable. You push yourself to the limit. But what do you do when the lights are off? I think that's where I think people are made. On a Sunday mornings or
Yeah.
Saturday nights, or practice is over, or do you stay late, do you come early, do you listen, do you respect? There's all little tools, that if you apply them, I mean, sky's the limit, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
and later in my life I was blessed to meet some Navy SEALs guys, and one of them trained me, which was pretty gnarly. And he told me that there was a study made which really, it was huge for me to come back from the Achilles injury. It was like that we as adults, I mean, everybody in the world, even top athletes, we use 20% of our mind, body, right? Ability. I mean, imagine that, man, like only 20%. How much more we have within us to perform. But that's a choice you got to make, right? It's up to you. You want to be comfortable, or you want to go reach for the stars.
Put yourself, yeah, reach for the stars. And at some point in your career, you transition, you come to Florida. I know you worked at IMG. Tell us about the experience at IMG and what you learned there.
I loved IMG. I know my slogan was IMG is the place to be, man. There's no
Yeah.
place like that in the world. Honestly, it was a blessing. I loved everybody top down, from the workers to the maintenance people to the coffee shop, the cleaners. Everybody was in the same kind of vision and mission. How can we provide the best experience for these kids, for these athletes, and it was incredible support, incredible facilities. I learned so much how to not only how to train and develop athletes, but how to build a business model, how to provide customer experience, how to support, how to fail and adapt and adjust. So it was IMG is like a lab. It's incredible that it's its own world. So I loved it. I learned a lot there. I have great support from, I still keep in touch with the leadership there. And I think, I mean, they sold and they're going, they are truly reaching for the stars.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah.
it was truly an amazing experience for my growth as a person and as a business, and also for sports.
Yeah. What are some lessons that either at IMG, maybe overcoming a loss, a failure, what are some lessons that stand out in your career that you've learned?
I think for me, like, from volleyball and business, it's been like, and I learned this the hard way many times, is not assuming, not assuming you know everything,
Yeah.
the assumption of I know everything, I can figure out everything on my own, kind of that ego a little bit. I mean, we're all egoistic by nature, men and women. But I think being humble, being kind of open-minded and vulnerable to ask for help, to seek help, things you don't know, it's been a big lesson for me when I played. Uh, you know, Especially for me, like I came with nothing, so imagine me, like this macho guy from Albania. I didn't want to ask for help for anybody. I'm like, I'll go through
Yeah.
the wall. But that didn't help me, didn't help me as much, and I could have done better there. In the business, the same thing, so the ability to be humble, the ability to be open-minded, to seek advice,
Yeah.
and to listen to people around you, like, I thought I knew everything till I don't know anything. So
Yeah. Never assume. That's a lesson I learn all the time. Never assume that you know something without asking. So one of the things about volleyball, right? Like this, I love the synchronicity of volleyball. It's such a team sport, and it's constantly moving. But at the same time, you got to have that right, that leader on the court. What did you learn about good leadership? You know, what are some characteristics that you value now in leadership that you learned as a player?
Well, volleyball. So volleyball has been. I mean, like people don't understand. Like volleyball is such a hard sport. People assume it's, again, assume it's so easy.
Yeah,
But you got 3 seconds to keep the ball in play and make a
yeah,
decision. That decision could be an Olympic gold medal, or decision to go to scholarship, or to be cut from a team. So it's not like basketball. It's not like, where you can keep the ball for 35 seconds,
yeah,
dribble and shoot, or soccer, other sports. So it requires like fast thinking, being adaptive, being super, super prepared. I wrote some things down here. So being prepared, like being truly prepared, listening, like kind of a leadership model. Like I
yeah,
was a setter. As a setter, I'm kind of a captain of a team, like a point guard, like a Tom Brady type thing. So as a leader of that group, pack, could be a high school, could be USC, could be the Olympic team, or a business meeting, is also to lead by example. Like many people love to speak, love to say, like, this great vision, mission, and statement, but then are you as a leader leading by example? Are you listening? Are you learning as a leader? Are you being adaptive? Also, I call it like, humanized relationships. I think for me, as a leader, as a setter, and also at IMG as a director and as a co-founder here at GSI, is, like having everybody has a say, having kind of like getting to know people as well, because their opinion matters. They're very creative, right? People have a
yeah,
lot of good ideas. So kind of open-minded, humanized relationship, listen, learn, and being able to adjust. I mean, like, honestly, like we had a saying in Olympics that before you get better, you get worse. I mean, it's incredible. Like, physically, when we're doing drill, when we are working out at the highest level, you hit a spot where you just kind of fall down, like, skill wise, mind wise. And that's when you kind of push a little bit more, push a little bit more. And that's what kind of you open that kind of reach for the stars type, mindset. But
yeah.
not everybody is willing to go through that kind of what I call pain, like the outworking and out competing everybody, like, so yeah, man, that's, I think, those few things that
Yeah.
I learned as a player and as a leader.
Well, it's like when you're talking about is Michael Jordan talked about it in one of that Netflix specials about it's not just about being great yourself, it's about showing others and leading by example. So that's probably
You
really
have to
important.
lift, yeah, you have to lead by example. You have to lift up others. We play in a team sport. If I play tennis, even in tennis, the same thing. I believe, like, it just, you have your coaches, you have your trainers, you have your travel, you have your PR manager, whatever. Like, you have a team around you. You always have
Yeah.
a team. Doesn't matter what sport you play or whatever business you do. So the ability to include your team, to listen to your team, to lift them up, to, like, people can
Sure.
come and work with you and believe you, right? And feel good about being with you. I mean, that's an incredible leadership, right? Being able to serve. I mean, like,
Yeah.
just to wrap it up, is like, as a leader, how can I serve you? How can I
Yeah.
make you better?
Who are some mentors in your life that you look to for guidance and for help, and what are some key lessons you've learned from them?
So at young age, the only mentor I had was me, Donald, the Superman, and that
Yeah.
was a wrong mindset. That was just awful. And it just hits you in the face, like, and I learned through the years how to lean on others, for me, I kind of took a sport mentor, like, a head coach who was, like, one of my business mentors told me, like, hey, if you wanna achieve something, why don't you reach out to a successful people, a successful person who's been there, so then you can fast forward the steps and not make the same mistakes, right? Like, you'll make mistakes, but why not cut them by half, and that was like a haha moment, so in Olympics, was my Olympic coach, Doug Bill. In the business world, I was blessed to, meet some really amazing CEOs, in a variety of sports. And it's amazing when you seek help, people give you advice, So I had a
Yeah.
CEO of a multisport, like, he built a Champions League of soccer, an Olympic coach, and also my pastor. Honestly, like, I go to church and lean on my pastor for, humble advice, So I kind of mix and match my mentors. And lastly, like, my parents, like, they know you best, your mom and dad knows you best, Ultimately, if nothing was working, I'll go to my parents and ask them for some advice sometimes, and learned a lot. I mean, I learned, again, like, all this, what not to do, And the great thing about those mentors, they're not giving me like the easy key to success, right? Like, hey, here's the path to go there. You gotta do the work. I mean, I can't work for you, which I also preach in the kitchen, teaching kids. Like, I can train you, but I don't want you to be a robot. I don't want you to listen to me every single second, because we are all different, right? So just mixing and matching those mentors has been a blessing.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to go back to GSI. Tell us about what that is, and what sort of your mission and goals are with that.
Yeah, so again, blessed by my partner, Yuri and Sasha. They're Russian family, lived in Siberia. They moved, they've been back and forth in US. Yuri played volleyball at the highest level, like me as well, in Russia. And their daughter, like was playing at IMG. But we're athletes since age 10. So our vision was like, hey, let's build a multi-sport facility built by real athletes for real athletes, right? And have a place where any athletes of any journey can fulfill their goals. So you can be a young kid or a young adult who just want to have fun, or you can be an Olympian or pro player and have a place to come there, fueled by passion and performance, right? So our goal was not, of course, volleyball is our specialty, so to have that kind of a destination for girls and boys volleyball, where we have the best equipment, the best flooring, the best, kind of facility, including coffee shop and smoothies, but also add in, we love business. So add in some fitness model, add in pickleball, which is the fastest growing sport right now. And, we grew up as athletes playing multi-sport. So I think having that variety of sports within a facility, it's a blessing, So yeah, we want to have a place where people can hang out, build a community, train at the highest level, or purely have a league, and enjoy themselves.
Awesome, love it. And that's in Venice, and is it open now or opening this summer?
It's opening end of May. Our official opening, we'll invite you guys, is June 20th. We're going to do a ribbon cutting with City of Venice, June 20th at 4 p.m. So we're going to invite you, Mark. And, Reed, you're kind of far, but, Mark will invite.
Excellent. All right, I'll show you my volleyball skills. All right,
love it.
which are non-existent. But Donald, before we let you go, I got 3 rapid fire questions for you, and this is again unique to you, and you touched on it a little bit, but this is just fascinating to me. Who is the coolest superstar Olympic athlete that you've met in your life?
Ooh, that's such a tough one, man. You can't. I put me in pressure right now. I mean, Kobe, man. Yeah, I mean, God bless him, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I mean, incredible human being. I mean, like, I watched him practice in London too, and then he came to speak. So I was living in Orange County, California. He'd wake up at 5 a.m. and work out in the same gym. I mean, just
really
unbelievable. Yeah, just a killer. Yeah.
So you saw that side of him that people heard about, like how just
incredible, just a killer mindset, Yeah. So
very cool. What is second question? What is a go-to favorite song you have to get pumped up, ready to go, take the court, whatever challenge you have in front of you?
See, the problem with me, Mark, is that I'm a world traveler. It's just I have so much music, in my portfolio. I have Albanian music, Turkish, Italian.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been back when I was younger. Was honestly Tupac. When I was younger age. Now it's kind of like a techno house music, a DJ.
Yeah.
I like energy. I'm a very high energy guy, so I need that. Just and music is life. I mean, without music, even at IMG, I have music every day in the gym, and even at GSI, we'll have music everywhere. So,
I knew you were gonna say something rap, high energy going. That just had to had to be that based on your accomplishments in life. All right, last question. Would you rather sail around the world or drive around North America in a van?
You touched something very important in my bucket list, Mark. I want to get my boys call it house on wheels. It's the what do you call now? I'm blinking. Not the minivans, the RVs. So my dream is to get an RV and drive all over North America. Yeah, not sail. RVing around the world, man. That's God help me, please.
Love it. Got to do it. Excellent. Well, Donald Suxho with GSI. Thank you so much for joining us on the From the Corner Office podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Business Observer From the Corner Office podcast. I'm your host, Mark Gordy. This podcast was produced by Reed Corley of the Corley Company in Sarasota. To hear more episodes of From the Corner Office podcast, go to businessobserverfl.com.